Now it's recording. All right. Now we'll do this again. Don't laugh at me, Casper. I see you down there. Good thing I'm a better coach than I am a tech guy. You know, that's all I could say. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. All right. All right. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control your attitude. So much of this is about mindset. So last week we talked about part one, the market shift. Shifts happen, the law of equilibrium. All right. This week, get real, get right, mindset and action. All right. So you may have noticed I don't have real fancy slides. I don't have a lot of instruction on here because I want this to be discussion. All right. I think the genius is with the 5 people that are on the screen, not with me. So all I want to do with this, guys, to keep it really simple is what did you get? Let's talk about tactic 1 first. Get real, get right, mindset and action. What did you get out of that? More importantly, how are you going to apply it? All we're going to do through this entire series is ask those 2 questions. What did you get? How are you going to apply it? If needed, I'll throw in a couple questions just to stir the pot a little bit. Okay. So I'm trusting everybody read it and you have some ideas. Can we first of all agree what's going on in here between your ears and in here is critically important right now? Okay. All right. Why? I hate this expression, but it's appropriate. Why now more than ever? Is mindset so important?
I would say
Bueller?
that,
Bueller?
yeah,
Okay.
no
Thanks,
problem.
John.
Yeah, I would say that having been through, and I'm sure I'm not the only person, having been through these shifts before, most notably the 2008 to, in some cases for some folks, 2015 recession. If you go into it with, or you practice your business with a mindset of, oh my God, this is never going to work, well, then it isn't going to work. It's almost like I equate it to Bull Durham, where Kevin Costner says to Susan Sarandon, if he's not pitching because he's breathing out of the wrong eyelid, then and it goes farther deeper into that, but he goes, then he is, and that's the truth. So you got to get your mind in a good space in order to serve your people and bring deals to close, because it's getting harder to bring deals to close, at least in my market.
What would a good space be? What does that mean?
Honestly, one of positivity and opportunity, because we're definitely in a challenging time for both sides, because financing is now becoming a problem for a lot of the folks who've lost a lot of buying power in the last 2 months. That you got to try to be solutions based instead of wallowing in the problems based.
Absolutely. Okay. What else? What else does mindset mean to anybody here? Or what kind? Let me change the question. Would it be fair to say that a rose-colored glasses, oh, everything is fine, ain't gonna cut it? Okay. So how do you maintain practicality, pragmatism with optimism?
I'm not sure that rose-colored glasses ever work. Yeah, I say that. I mean, obviously there's a little chuckle there, but to me, it's one of those type situations where there's, I think for just about any situation you find yourself in, if you don't acknowledge that there's something going on that doesn't seem right, then you will never be able to come up with a solution for said opportunity. I mean, there are a lot of people that will just kind of bury their head or say, oh, it will work themselves out. And I mentioned it last week, and George, I mentioned it earlier today when we were on our call of, bulletproof in the transaction, maybe being not necessarily involved more than what I should be, but for me personally, now is not the time to assume that everybody that I normally engage with to help a client get from point A to point B is doing what they're supposed to be doing, because there is a lot going on in our world right now, whether it's professionally, personally, whatever it may be, and you never know what somebody else is going through. And, just trying to stay ahead of the curve just to make sure that my vendor partners are in a good space to deliver for my clients the same way I expect myself to.
So Brian, would part of that being assuming that they're not, and making sure that you got it covered?
No, it doesn't necessarily mean that I assume that they're not in a good space. And what I mean by that is, um, I'll give another example, and this is 100% my fault. 30 minutes before this call started, I got a phone call from a client that I closed at the end of November. One of my contractors who I'd gotten to give us quotes to make some repairs after he bought the house, hooked those two together. Guy's always done a fantastic job. Shame on me, I never followed up with my client. And 4 months later, my client called me this afternoon and was really nice about it, but I felt embarrassed of there was one item that the contractor never took care of. My client had already paid him for the entire job because he had done everything else. And it was some window stuff that was on order. And the guy hasn't followed up with him for 4 weeks. So like I called him today. And so that's kind of a small story, but
Right.
Think about it in the standpoint of your client hasn't closed yet, buying or selling. And you're going about your day just assuming that all of your partners are delivering the same way you expect yourself to do. I don't necessarily want to take it for granted right now. I'm probably going to do a little bit more follow-up behind them, but just as a check-in, do you need my help? Do you need my support? Are we good?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So
I think that's the key. A little more follow-up behind them, just to make sure. Because right now, consider too, your vendors are busy, right? Lenders are busy doing rewrite offers every 2 weeks for people. Every inspectors are busy, appraisers are busy. So I think it's easy for
vendors
things
are
to jump
short on
off.
supplies.
Vendors are short on supply, they're short on people, they're short on staff. Everybody's under the gun. So the onus is on us, on you guys, to make sure, that the machine is working. Yeah, a little bit. Doesn't have to assume the worst, but a little bit. What's the old adage? Hope, how does it go? Hope for the best, plan for the worst, something like that, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. So mindset. I'll throw this one out for you guys if you want to have something to play with. I was at a workshop years ago, and somebody threw out the challenge, said, describe yourself. You have 2 words, not 1 word, not 3 words, 2 words. You can only use 2 words to describe yourself. What would those 2 words be? That's an interesting exercise. Something that's universal that you can describe yourself. Got nothing to do with this and everything to do with this. So for what it's worth, what I came out with, and for those of you that have known me for a little while, is pragmatic optimist. Not an optimistic pragmatic. I'm a pragmatic optimist. I'm optimistic. I think things always work out better, and I'm practical and pragmatic and look at the reality of what's going on. So I think in this world, in the way the market is going, a level of optimism is key, right? Because your clients are looking for you, but also be practical, be grounded, be down to earth, and understand that the Fed just increased by 50 basis points the interest rates this afternoon. Things, they are changing. All right, I promise not to lecture on this thing, so let me get off let me get off the soapbox. It's too easy. It's like, give me a microphone. Yeah, let's go. All right. So how do you put this thinking then about being an optimist, about taking care of all how do you put that into practice? Give me some tactics that you're using to help keep your mindset where it should be.
So I'm looking for opportunities in new places. For example, I joined our Chamber of Commerce. I'm going to go make some new connections, meet some new people, and hopefully create some new opportunities. So, but it's only because of the mindset of knowing that I need to expand and not look backwards and not worry about the present, but look at the future and the future needs and opportunities.
Good. I like that. I've got a few clients actually that have gotten into networking groups recently, chambers recently. So John, make sure, just as a tip for your Chamber of Commerce, are they going around the horn? Everybody gets a chance to do a 30-second commercial?
Yes.
60-second, whatever it is. Write a really memorable commercial with a great tagline.
Got it.
Tagline is the key. One of my all-time favorites, as an example, I knew a chiropractor, right? We're always glad to see you're back. Brilliant. Right? Yeah, so make it memorable. If you want some help with that, hit me up privately. I'll help you out with it. I used to teach a course on how to do a 30-second commercial. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right. That could actually be fun. That might be an idea further down the line. All right. Who else? Who else has tactics? So looking for new opportunities in new places. What other tactics do we have for implementing mindset?
Hey, George.
Hey guys,
All right, Tony first, and I think that was Derek second. I'm not sure. Yeah, no,
Dean.
it was Dean.
The
Okay.
application of power or knowledge, I think there's still going to be a lot of people out there that are thrown for a loop with COVID. So being respectful of that, whether it's, the buyers coming into our open houses or the sellers not wanting to get with us because they're still apprehensive, or do you wear a mask and, show respect? Or frankly, someone getting sick in the next surge and you're not aware of it. And maybe that's even for us to be careful we don't get sick, because, quarantine for 10 days in our busy season could be tough. But also I think, and this just comes from a client of mine, nobody could get a hold of them because she doesn't answer her phone anymore. Too many people with the thing, but she'll only answer to text. That's a major change for somebody that's 60 years old. She doesn't use the phone. So a different communication system, or two of them, to talk to our clients, or maybe even three.
Perfect.
Maybe how we talk to them.
So what's the question that you asked the client for that?
What is your preferred way that I reach you?
You got it.
And then respect it.
Respect it. Absolutely. Make a note and remember. Yeah, because you're probably the only one who does. Cool. Good stuff, Tony. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, being respectful of the potentials. A lot of people are still nervous about COVID. Yeah. I still get a kick out of the people that are walking through a parking lot or on a park or on a bicycle by themselves with a mask. No, I'm going to go to my grave not understanding that one, but hey, whatever floats your boat. Dean, you had your hand up.
Hey, thanks for calling me. Believe it or not, I had a client, I was doing a Zoom CMA with them, and they were sitting in their living room, husband and wife, and they were each wearing a mask in their own home. I go, guys, you can't transmit COVID via the internet. It doesn't work like that. They were kind of weird. I never got that listing, by the way. So a couple things. That was kind of strange. They're sitting in their own damn dining room with a mask on, each of them.
Right.
Anyway, that's crazy. Anyway, the words from MREA, find the motivated, and that's in shift, I guess, too. But find the motivated in shift, I mean. So it's find the motivated. So who are the motivated? People with a real reason to sell. Now, this is quite a departure from what we've been used to all these so many years. Mm-hmm. It's a great time to buy. It's a great time for sellers. There's very little inventory. Now you have an opportunity, if you're serious, to get a house for a very low rate of interest. It's still comparatively low, but the buzz is going to be that it's not, that it's very high in terms of the high interest rates. Right. Now we could talk about inflation benefiting home buyers because they're going to get all that equity, assuming home prices go up, but still they're going to be a little nervous. So I still mix in my day, and you know this, George, for sale by owners, cancels, expireds, situations with people that are elderly. I know a lot of elderly people in the neighborhood. Not that I'm on a death watch with them. I don't surf the obituaries or anything, although somebody suggested that to me. I think that's kind of bad. Just to talk to people that might be interested in selling, because it's not as recreational anymore. It's
Okay.
like a need to do it. Now I'm involved as well, guys, in local networking groups.
Yeah, I
Okay,
see those.
so
Yeah.
I know, yeah, I know John Astorina's on the call. He's not too far from me. I'm glad to see you here, Johnny. So you go into neighborhoods on the north side and you meet some people that are probably having the same concerns you have in different types of professions, anywhere from chiropractors to financial planners. And, they could identify the motivated for you. So that's
Good.
what I'm trying to do
Yeah,
a little bit more now. So thanks for letting me share.
looking for new opportunities, go into new places, shake it up a little bit. Okay, shake it up a little bit, which is a perfect segue, by the
Thank
way,
you.
into tactic two. Yeah, thank you, Dean. Yeah, we what when you do something new, is it fair to say it's going to be a little bit scary, right? So watch it carefully, monitor it, check your return on investment. This is going to tie right into tactic two. So thank you, Dean, for teeing it up for me. All right. But at the same time, understand that doing the same stuff the way we've always done it is not going to work anymore. So joining a networking group, getting into a chamber, looking at BNI, changing your morning routine or adding something to your morning routine. I was talking to a client earlier this week about, I don't want to add another 5 minutes to my morning. Okay. How many of you were at family reunion? Did you or attended or what was the last thing we had? I don't even remember now. They're all blurring together. Anybody else? Right. So the one on I forget the HR, the I used to worry about losing my short-term memory. This is a perfect example. All right.
Ain't sure about something.
Somebody help me out here.
You're talking about
He was the keynote
the
speaker, the
happiness
happiness
advantage.
guy.
Was
Yeah,
that
the
the one?
happiness guy with
Yeah.
the habit
Acor,
of brushing.
John Acor.
John Acor. Thank you, Dean.
John
The
Acor,
habit
yeah.
about brushing your teeth. So I just introduced that thought to one of my clients. It's like, well, do you brush your teeth every morning? Well, yeah. Okay. What can you do while you're brushing your teeth to help set the tone for the day? What can you say to yourself? What can you put on the mirror? What song could you play? What little 3-minute podcast could you listen to? What could you do that where it's not using any more time, but it's overlapping the time? Because how you start your day, everybody that I talk to agrees with this one. How I start my day sets the tone for the rest of the day. And so it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be get up at 4:30 in the morning, run 5 miles, do 200 push-ups, kill the bear, skin the bear, make a new coat for your spouse. It doesn't have to be all that stuff. It could be something as simple as walk the dog. Okay. Do a little 5-minute meditation, but get into a routine, folks, because as the market gets tougher, this for all of us becomes really vulnerable. Oh, and don't read the news first thing in the morning. Okay, don't do that.
You're
Guilty as charged.
If you want,
I'm a
to
fan
know,
of not reading it at all.
yeah, or read the financial part. Read the part that's going to have an impact on your business, so you're educated as to what's happening in the world. But it's really easy to become very, very depressed by looking at the news. Right? Brian, you and I talked about this, doing like a sports thing in the morning, something that charges you up, something that you enjoy. So I can't recommend strongly enough. It doesn't have to be fancy. It's just got to be a routine that you get into in the morning to get control of this. Because as I famously learned in my NLP training, I love this quote: if you are not in control of your thoughts, who is? That's a scary one to noodle on. Oh, it's the other guy. All right. If you're not in control of your thoughts, who is? So, segue into number 2, remargin your business. So as we go out and we start looking for new things, exposing ourselves to new opportunities, okay? How do we monitor this to make sure we're getting a return? And what should that return be?
I think as far as the amount of return, I think it depends on what you're investing in. I mean, I kind of mentioned to you, we're going through that analysis with our expenses right now.
Yep.
And depending on what it is. So first of all, at a minimum, I always look for a 4-to-1 return for me personally. There are some things that I do spend some money on that I try to get a 6. But it just all depends, but that's my general range.
My phone rang, I saw your name pop up and then it stopped ringing. So maybe it was just a pocket dial.
I have control. All right. Yeah, good. All right. So a 4-to-1 return is what the MREA and Shift recommends. Okay. By the way, let me throw this one out. And those of you that have gone through this, please don't give away the answer. Let's say you spend $1,000 on something and you get $4,000 back. Is that or is that not a 4-to-1 return? Those who say yes, just go like this. Those who say no, just shake your heads. Right. Why is it's not a 4-to-1 return?
You said spend
Spend
4,000 to get 4,000 back.
Got $4,000 back. Is that a 4-to-1 return? Why not, Brian?
It's not, because you take out your original cost basis, which was 1,000.
1,000.
And so my profit's 3,000.
Right. So the formula, and this becomes really important if you're going to go back and analyze where your leads are coming from and what you're spending for your leads. It's a very simple formula. It's revenue minus expense divided by expense. Right? Revenue minus the investment that you made divided by the investment. I got $4,000. I spent $1,000. 4,000 minus 1, 3. Divided by 1,000, 3-to-1 return. Not a 4-to-1 return. So just be careful, because most people mess that one up. All right. What else did we get out of this remargin your business? I've talked to quite a few of you, and we're looking closely at expenses, personal and business. What ahas came out of this chapter that are ringing your bell right now?
I found it that it's a really good reminder that, and I found this in business too, from when I was working in the stock market, was that one of the best ways to maximize profits is to minimize your expenses. And so, I mean, I run a very lean and tight ship as it is. So when I start looking at monthly expenses that have gone up, like my cable bill, we talked about this today, I'm pretty suspect of what kind of value am I getting for it, and I got to make an adjustment.
Yep. Okay, good. So we're going to come back to profit and expenses in a minute. Right? Who else? Anybody? Who else got an insight or an aha from reading or rereading this part of Shift? Hey, Gwen, nice to see you down there.
Hey guys,
Dean.
I had this if I may, thanks for the opportunity. I had a big come to Jesus when the pandemic first started, and here's what happened. And I took a very close look at what I was spending money on, and there was a lot of crap in there that was just waste. And in fact, I think I told you, George, there was one charge I was charged $29.95 for the last 21 years, and I didn't even notice it. And it was to get on the first page of Google. The company was still charging me, but they weren't doing anything. So that was pretty obvious. And I figured $29.95 divided by 12 times, it wasn't 30, it was like 15 years. I'm sorry, overstated. But I got rid of that stuff. What happened as the pandemic went on and business kind of picked up, so I got a little slack on that watchdog kind of an eye. Said, oh, I'll go for this. I can go for that. I could spend money on this, spend money on that. Just go for the extra cable package and all this. But I re-margined that. I redid that. You have to go back to it. In other words, you always have to be vigilant on keeping that clean. You can't just, it's not one time and done.
Right. And so here's and one of the reasons we're hammering this now, and you're going to hear it all through KW a lot, especially from you guys with me, going to hear it from coaches all the time. We as coaches, we pretty much beat you up with it when the pandemic hit. Cut expenses. Okay. Then I'm going to get into the real reasoning for that in a moment. But then what happened in the last year and a half, a lot of you had really good years. So all of a sudden, I cut all these expenses. Now I got all this cash coming in. So it's easy, $29.95 here, $30 there, 15 there, a couple hundred here. Okay. And Dean, by the way, I just did the math on that. If it was 15 years, that's $5,391. Oh, leaking out at $30 at a time.
Yeah, it's just $30 a month, George.
It's just $30 a month,
it's
right?
30
That's all. $30
Yeah,
a
who
month for the
cares?
rest of your life, right?
That's-
So it's go through. The best exercise to do here is pull out your business checking account, pull out your personal checking account, pull out your credit cards. Go through like the last 3 months, so you can see the pattern, and look at those areas that are not giving you revenue. Look at those areas that are waste, right? And if you can cut it out, if it's a waste of time, cut it out. If you can renegotiate it, like your phone bill, your all kinds of different things that you can renegotiate. Okay. If it's a high interest credit card, zero in on that one. Pay that one off first. You guys know the drill. There's nothing new here. It's just a matter of taking the action to do it. Okay. And at the same time, be careful. Cautionary warning. I think I mentioned this to a couple of you. I did this with Verizon because I figure if I'm the coach, I should walk the talk. So I called Verizon up. Yeah, the price I'm paying for this is the best rate. I think I could still do better, but it's the best rate. But they gave me an offer for my internet. I was paying Cox Internet $99 a month. They have this special thing going in my neighborhood that we're open to 5G. And I get this little box that I just plug into the wall. And it's free for 30 days. And it's $25 a month for 2 years. So I'm going $99 minus $25 is, whoa, it's a $74 spread times 24 months. That's patriotic. It's $1,776 that I can save in 2 years. The problem was the damn thing failed on me. I had a download speed of 5 megabits when I tested it earlier. So am I saving $74 or am I putting myself in hazard's way because my internet doesn't work and I need my internet for business? With me? So when you're cutting, be careful. Be prudent, be smart, and check on it. Fair? All right. Who else has noticed? What have you noticed as you've gone through your expenses? Who has something that they caught that surprised them? Kind of like Dean's $30 a month.
Hey, George, this is Tony. This is probably more in the commission side, but we're getting a lot of 2.5%, 2% commissions. Numerous times I've always done the 3% and made my buyers pay that. But what I didn't expect was when I was working with another KW agent and I said, hey, if this is really the 2.5% and you're getting 2.5%, then I'm not going to do this escrow agreement to keep it even. And what I found, and this is kind of common practice in Utah, is listing agents are saying, well, it's what I was told by some people. They're saying, oh yeah, I'm getting 2.5 on the listing side to make the buyer's agent, but they're really taking 3.5. So if you do a lot of buyers, you may want to do that escrow and fight for that commission, whether it's from your seller, but sometimes it's being taken by the listing agent and just not being given to you.
Okay. So I guess the bottom line there is protect your commissions,
Yeah,
right?
and the way to do that in Utah, at least we got to do that escrow agreement between brokerage and brokerage is part of the contract. And but I was and when I talked to the legal people, I was surprised they can say it's okay and ethical, or we're not going to fight that if listing agents are telling you one and it's different.
All right.
Because the end result is the listing agent and the BAC controls, and good luck proving it.
All right.
I'm
So-
curious if anyone else has experienced that.
Hey, it's John. Well, I mean, we don't generally have to fight for commission in the Chicago area. I'm sure Dean will agree with me. But what I'm seeing, and I know we're not supposed to really try to set commission as a commission as a standard, but we do see as traditional and customary is 2.5 on the buy side, and we generally tend not to have to fight or don't fight an agent on whatever they're making. But what I am seeing is some of those buyer side commissions are actually coming down, and I think that's a result of the hubris in the market, especially on the listing side of single family houses versus condos. And I think that the listing agents are getting squeezed by their clients on how much commission they're willing to pay.
And there's a couple interesting lawsuits that are pending right now and happening
Yeah.
in regard
Right.
Following that.
to
John,
both
I
the
was-
buy
I was-
side and the listing side.
I was just going to comment on that quickly. With the lawsuits going through, if they impact the way buyers brokers are paid, if they do what they do in other countries like Australia and UK and so on, and say that the buyers pay the buyer
All
brokerage,
right, let me put the kibosh
That's
on that
good.
let me put the kibosh
All
on
right.
that before you go far down that rabbit hole. It's not going to
Okay.
happen anytime soon. It's the United States
There you
legal
go.
system. It's the NAR and major companies. It is not going to happen soon. And I got to tell you, unless you're reading Inman, you wouldn't even know about it. Your clients have no
There
clue
you
about this unless they're involved in the suit. So don't sweat it. Just keep doing business as usual. All right. Not to
Well, one of
squash
the
the
other,
team,
well, thank you. Thank you. No, that's cool. I'm fine. I'm just going to mention that, but that's what people are thinking. Second of all, we can, what seems to be happening here, most of my business is listing. Most of our team's business is listings. So we charge and it's customary here. Most buyer brokers don't really look at the co-op. I've found, there's been situations where I've co-op less than 2.5%, and people don't even notice it. I had one lady at the close. I'm not suggesting you do that, or whatever the percentage is. It could be anything. But people don't, the other broker typically doesn't notice it. So what's become a kind of de rigueur around here is to charge a transaction fee to the buyer's agent. So I'm not saying you should do it. I don't know the legality in your states.
Right.
But it's another way of making up a little bit of money on each transaction.
Right.
Could add up.
All right. Let me go to something bigger. Okay. I think Brian, you mentioned it. I'm not sure. The difference between profit and cutting expenses, or income and cutting expenses, and the relationship that has with profit. Okay?
Well, you and I actually had this discussion, I think it was like 2 weeks ago
think
or
so,
something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Where, and I hadn't thought about it from that perspective, but it sunk in, and you made the statement, you were right. If you add $1,000 in commission, like let's say you close a transaction, if you were to increase your commissions by $1,000 in a given month, you're not adding $1,000 of income to your bottom line because of taxes or whatever it may be. You're not putting
Taxes,
$1,000 in your pocket.
royalties, and
Yeah.
cost of sales,
But
whatever it
if
might
you,
be, right?
but if you cut $1,000 of expenses, then that's $1,000 of additional profit that goes in your pocket.
Right to the bottom line. And that, guys, this is such an important concept. Okay. $1 saved in expenses is equal to $1 directly to your bottom line, directly to profit. $1 made in top line GCI is probably going to be more like 60 cents. Okay. So and the cautionary tale, we've gotten used to these sales coming, listings, selling 30, 40, 50% above ask, right? And commissions that are coming into that are commensurate with that, big checks. I know realtors that have made more in a month than the average American earns in a year. Okay, this is a lucrative business, and that can get you fat and happy.
I'd
also
love to
get you-
hear, I'd love to hear John's comments or somebody else's, because I think it was John that said earlier, he feels like his team runs pretty lean. And I thought I did too. And then I kind of looked at some stuff, and then I had to look at more to really ask myself, okay, like, do you really need this? And so I struggle with that sometimes. And I'd love to know other people's thoughts on, how do you really uncover that? Because I'm biased towards my numbers. And it's like, oh, I need that. I use that. But, how do you challenge yourself?
Is that directly to John, or is that out for?
And anybody, John or anybody. I just remember John said that he ran lean.
Yeah.
And so for
Yeah,
anybody else that feels that they run lean.
Yeah, I mean, I look at what my monthly costs are, and I visit, like, we the old days of Bold. I visit my money every day, and when I say I run lean, for the most part, I don't pay for leads. I use the systems that KW provides. I'm not going to go after for our monthly fee, right? The tech fee. I'm not going after those shiny things that I know. I'm a single agent. That I know as a single agent, they won't serve me. And so I keep my expenses as low as I possibly can, and I refuse to pay for leads. And that's how I keep it as lean as possible. In terms of
And
like
where's most of your business coming from, John?
my business is Sphere and agent referral. Agent referral can be a cost. Okay. I fully accept that. But what I also when I establish those relationships, it's like a one-time cost to establish a lifelong relationship.
Let me hold on for a second though. There's a difference between cost of sales and an expense.
Right.
An agent referral, where does that fall? Is that an expense or is that cost of sale?
I would probably consider, I don't know what the book says, but I'm going to consider it a cost of sale.
It's absolutely cost of sale, because
Yeah.
unless there's a sale made, is there a referral paid?
No.
No. Okay. So it's cost of sales is a place where if you're running a team, you can really get screwed, because you can have way too much going out in splits.
That can really eat your bottom line. Yeah.
Oh, huge. Huge. Right. Now, for agent referrals, and by the way, I'm hearing more and more of this, right? You make $10,000 on a sale, you're giving away $2,500 in a referral fee. Do the formula. $10,000, right? 25% typically, right, John?
Yes.
All right, $10,000 minus $2,500 divided by $2,500, 3.0 return with very, very little effort on your part. It's money that comes to you. You didn't have to spend anything to get it. It came to you. I
Which
do
is
that all
when
day long.
And I also, and then you look at the value of a single client.
You're
How
exactly
far,
right.
especially, especially in the long term.
Right.
Because I don't know what everybody else does. I don't generally charge referral fees on an ongoing basis for the same person. So it just gets me into relationship with new people that, guess what? Oftentimes those people will get me, will include me on somebody they're going to refer to me personally. It's not an agent
Right.
relationship. So I mean, I see it as a good way to develop my homegrown sphere.
There you go. Has anybody noticed that John just mentioned the word relationship about a dozen times? Take note. That's one of the things that's going to separate you guys from other agents that are out on the market. Okay. Right. So keep an eye on these expenses. By the way, a great thing to take next time it comes around. So just watch your emails. Sign up for Profit Camp next time it comes around. It's a very quick 3-hour course run by Jeannie Osnes out of Austin. And Jeannie is brilliant. All right. Get the class, take it every time it comes through. It's really good. For the 3 hours invested, you'll learn a lot about and a lot of tips on money, looking at your P&L. Okay. And Brian, if you want some help, and anybody else that was on my roster, you want some help with your numbers and evaluating, do I need this? Do I not need this? Send me your P&L. Easy.
Yep.
Okay. We'll go through it. We'll pick it apart. Absolutely. If, by the way, you're looking for if you want a bookkeeper that is on KW system and is exclusive to KW, shoot me an email, let me know, and I'll send you the list. These came out of Profit Camp as well. So Jeannie has 3 bookkeepers that she highly recommends. All they do is Keller Williams. They don't do any outside. I've got a guy locally here right up the street, but they also do other companies. They know KW, they do others. No, I want loyalty. So we got 3 of them. I don't know their rates. I don't know the prices, but if Jeannie refers them, that's all I need to know. So if you're interested, if you want to talk to these bookkeepers, shoot me an email. John, John, how do you say your last name? John B.
Ulawa.
Bulawa. George at georgegillis.com. Easy.
Okay.
Okay. George at georgegillis.com. Shoot me an email. I'll send you that list. And you can talk to these bookkeepers. They'll get you onto the MREA system.
Just FYI, I just fired one off to your Gmail. I know. Hey, it was before you gave out the email. Sorry.
Doesn't matter. It'll come into the inbox. I'll get it anyhow. All right. Cool. All right. So next week, tactic 3 and tactic, where are we? Tactic 3 and 4. Do more with less. Leverage. That's a fun topic. And find the motivated lead generation, which we're talking about a little bit today. All right. So thank you for playing, folks. If there's anything I can do in between now and next time we talk, please just hit me up. Shoot me an email at the Gmail account if you want to be like Brian, or if you actually pay attention and follow directions, you'll send it to George at georgegillis.com.
Or you could send it to both. No,
Or you can send it to both. I'll get it either way. All right. Just spell the name
there
right.
you go.
Yeah, all right. All
cover
right.
your bases.
All right,
Yeah.
guys. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you all soon. See ya.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thanks. Take care.
George, thanks
Bye,
for putting
guys.
this together.
You're
We'll
welcome. My
talk soon.
pleasure.
Good to see you,
See you
Johnny.
guys.
See you soon.
You
Bye.
too.
Bye.